Good afternoon. Hey, this video is in response to requests for more information about the repairs and the upgrades we made to our camper. We have a 2013 Lakota Big Horn, and it has a cable system on the slide out. I got in here and I was going to adjust the cable system. I have never had a slide out before. I don't know. I didn't know anything about this whenever I got started on this a few weeks ago. We just bought this camper about 6 months ago, and we're going to take it on our first big trip. And so we're going to get out here. I was like, I'm going to do all the maintenance on it. I'm going to try to make sure that everything's working like it's supposed to. And I go in here, I'm going to adjust the cable system in it. When I got into that, was upset to be to disappointed, I guess, would be like the main deal. You had to take apart, pull the camper apart. I had to take the trim down. All this stuff has to come off because it's not movable to do an annual maintenance on something, and that just seems to be ridiculous to me. And so I got to looking at it, and I was like, I don't want to put this back up here just to have to tear it back down again. I pulled the fascia boards off of it, and I didn't notice it when we bought it, but there were 8 nail holes everywhere where it had been. This has already been done about 7 or 8 times, and that just seems to be the industry standard, which I would say, if you are in the industry and you build these, unacceptable, just completely unacceptable. So I made some changes. We decided when we get down there, I wanted to be able to just open this cavity up and be able to get straight to everything I needed to get to without having to take the camper apart. Now, I think this will work on a regular travel trailer. I have a friend who works as a repair guy for travel trailers, and he assured me that this will work for that too. You may just have to make some modifications here and there. The first thing we did when we opened this up, this has to fold out and come down. And so we bought some hinges off of Amazon that will allow that to fold down like that and then roll underneath. And then these are just basic piano hinges right here. Whenever I took this off the first time, I found this was nothing but particle board, and I went ahead and replaced that with a piece of yellow pine. These hinges are just bolted to the aluminum structure behind there. One of the first things I found was that this motor had been replaced before, and there is just this thin piece of paneling up here that used to hang down over the motor. And when they replaced it the first time, they didn't take this down. It looked like they used a badger to get to it. I mean, and I don't mean like a tool badger. I mean like an animal, like a ferret, to gnaw this out right here. And it was just completely torn up. So I took that out, ripped that down back straight, and then made this a little bit taller so that it would cover it up whenever it's up like that. This is a little bit wider here to cover the distance, to cover this span here. But when you open it up, it opens it up to the point that I don't have to take this off to get that motor out anymore. And I liked that. The next thing you have to do, you have to modify a wrench to go up in there. I had to cut this off to make it short enough to be able to get clearance in there to go up in there. And if you're OCD like me, this just completely ruined a whole set of ratchet wrenches. But you have to have a 3/8 ratchet wrench to go up in there, and it's got to be a small one. But now what we've got is we're able to adjust this. Even if we get somewhere and we're camping somewhere, I don't need a whole set of tools to adjust these cables. If we get somewhere and that has to be done, which is unlikely, but if you did, you would be able to. And if your motor goes out, you don't have to take the whole thing apart to be able to replace your motor either. And that's what I really liked about it. Other than that, there was one more thing too. They were using this thing came from the factory with these little styrofoam grommets, I guess you would call them, that go on the end of these nails. on the end of these cables, and that's what they're using to keep the cables from coming out of adjustment. And I don't know why they don't just use lock nuts. If you're in the industry and you can answer that question for me, I would love to know that, because it seems ridiculous that you wouldn't put $3 worth of lock nuts on the end of that, which is what I've replaced those with, and I think that's a lot more stable situation there. Everything is held together whenever it's in transit by magnets. We put magnets on here, so whenever it pops up, this locks into place, and then the magnets hold it up as well. Other than that, if you have any more questions, feel free to ask me. Just keep in mind that I went to Kilgore College and not MIT, and so I don't know everything about this. There was one question I did want to address specifically in there about the structural integrity of the new system here, and I don't believe that anything that I took off of here, there was only a piece of 1/2-inch particle board that went from here to here, and then everything else on here was stacked on that particle board. I don't believe that I've changed anything structurally about the slide out itself. I mean, it's a good question, but I also asked my friend my friend Anthony that does repair these things, and he was like, "No, you didn't change anything about that. I mean, the metal substructure is enough to hold it together." He said, if anything, you probably made it stronger. So I don't know that I added strength, but I don't think I took away from it either. So that's a good question. It made me stop and think. But anyway, if you have any more questions, feel free to put them in the comments. Thanks.
You mentioned that it was a Lakota Big Horn, but some people may not know that that's a horse trailer. So this is the living quarters of a horse trailer. And so the substructure around this 6-foot slide out is probably different than your average camper. But anyways,
but I think it operates. But from what I've talked about, it pretty much operates the same. So, thank you.
Thanks, honey.